All right, we're going to film the first video on this YouTube channel. I'm going to show you how I built my rail cart. We used 10 series extruded aluminum, T-slot aluminum. I'll give you a side profile of that here. Got corner gussets as well as inside corner brackets, and then these gussets go across there. There's one in all corners, so it's very rigid. This is extremely light and extremely strong. Probably so light and extremely strong. So the wheels are inline skate wheels. They're just slightly softer polyurethane, so they're very quiet. That's an M8 bolt in the 12.9 hardness. That's a hard bolt with a lock nut on the inside. The front rollers that ride on the inside of the tracks are longboard wheels, and they were fatter, but I cut them down on the cutoff saw because they actually set down too low. And when I was over at Tennessee Pass in Leadville, there was a lot of hardware that stood up on the tracks, and it ran into those, and so that solved that problem. However, I did go out today with the maiden voyage and just put it on a little in-town track here in Colorado Springs, and they were beautiful. They were quiet. They barely touched. It went straight down the rails. I was very impressed with the ride, almost effortless. But these being as big a diameter, every time I got to what's called a frog, where there's a spur line coming off, the tracks are only 1 3/4 inches apart, and these rollers wouldn't fit through. So I had to portage up over the top of all of those. And where I was at, I was only going 1/4 mile or so, and there were 3 those spur lines that I had to portage up over. So it was kind of a pain in the butt, but the ride was great. All right, moving on. To support the bikes, I used a Thule roof mount bike rack, and then I cut the channel down to fit. Got one bolt up there in the front, and then it clamps down underneath, which is part of the original mount for that. There's another guy, and I don't remember his channel. I would like to give him credit, that built one very similar to this. He had kind of a triangle tripod up here, and get the angle right maybe. Anyway, it's set up high, and then he took the wheel off his tire and used a mount for when you put your bike like in the back of a pickup. And there's a lot of torque up there and higher center of gravity, so having the mount like this solves a lot of that problem. When you're sitting on the bike, especially a heavy bike, you've got a lot of wanting to move side to side, and that's all right down on that one pivot point. So this is a much better setup in my opinion. All right, so we got a cargo net on top, got hardware cloth in the bottom. You can put a bag of tools and a cooler and so on. And by the way, the girlfriend and I this weekend, today is Thursday, those wheels that I mentioned that I'm replacing, they're an 1 9/16 inch wheel. They're coming in on Saturday. I'll get those switched Saturday. Sunday we're going to head down to Parkdale, which is west of Canyon City. There's 160 miles of vacant railroad track, decommissioned railroad track, 160 miles running north. It goes up through Salida and Buena Vista and Leadville. There's a infamous tunnel in Leadville. We drove over there last weekend, took a look at that, and the tracks run along the Arkansas River in a canyon, the most beautiful country ever. I'm looking forward to getting over there. But anyway, Saturday or Sunday we're going to be going down for a real trial on the tracks, go about 10 miles, and we'll be able to film that. So come back for that, And trying to think if there's anything else I can point out at this time. The adjustment. This is the idea I got from that other YouTuber, and I'll try and credit him in another video. But he had this design here, and I thought it was really clever. And you loosen 4 of the bolts, and you can slide it in or out. If you got rails that are a little bit different, or I know that Tennessee Pass that we're getting to, it has a lot of curves in it, and so there could be some impinging of rollers. Anyway, this is the first video, and I'm not going to do any editing, so it's going to be a little rough, so bear with it. But just know that we've got some better videos coming, period. I do have another video to post after this one, just having the cart itself on live tracks by my house, where I just rolled it with my foot to show how nice it went. There's no narration with it, no editing, but it just shows it on the tracks. So I'll post both of these, and then stay tuned for some more adventures to come.